All right, here we are on Fox for another DDK to SDK video. Since we're being a little bit more aggressive, I figure Fox is a great place to learn. They might be aggressive as well compared to a place like Pananet, but we will be back to Pananet later. So the goal right now is still to play our more defensive style overall, but we're looking for opportunities where we can ask for more. Something that's really important in any sort of situation where you can be more aggressive or do some sort of attack is to know why you're doing it. You need to have some sort of plan. For example, you want to get Sente in a situation. You can look for a way to play a move that almost fixes your problems instead of completely fixing them. And you do it in Sente, so you can play away more quickly. Or you want to get an extension, but you ask for a little bit extra attached to them to get something extra, right? You have a lot of good opportunities to do things, but as long as you have a plan, as long as you know what you're trying to accomplish, that is more important than just playing an aggressive move. And a plan, even if it's a bad one, is better than no plan at all. Whenever we need to, we will be defending and relying on the stuff that we've already covered and learned. When we have that opportunity to strike back, we will be asking for as much as possible. Let's get into a game and see how it goes.
Start to play.
All right, we do have a game here. We are black. Let's see if our opponent is normal. They seem to be. So we're going to be playing the 2, 3, 4 points like usual. Hopefully they do not leave too early, but still just normal corner enclosures. Not asking for too much like our opponent is here. Just getting solid territory from the beginning of the game. Oh, our opponent decides to split our group up here. I don't know which direction I want to push this in right now, so I'm just going to approach and try to expand from my corner first. Oh, they're kicking, so we do want to extend. And just take a normal base here, like I like to do. And now we have some ideas on where we may want to go. Since they did not play on the top side, we can push them whichever way we want. We can't really build the left side very much. So I'm going to push them towards the top side. And then we're going to press them down and build a giant center as best we can. So there's a really cool technique here. We attach on top, they wedge, we Atari, then we extend. See if they play the full Joseki. They do not. Maybe they don't know it, but they're Atariing here, so we will connect. Their group is not alive, so I'm very happy just to connect here. This makes us very strong in the center. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a Moyo game. Maybe they'll be invading us. Who knows? They're jumping out. We can't quite cut them. We can threaten, but we can't quite cut them. So I'm happy to just play on the left side and get some extra territory while they run away. And they are the ones who are going to start with being more aggressive. Very good, very good. So we just want to separate. So something like this diagonal is a really great idea. This is threatening to surround and threatening to press them down. See which one they do. Interesting idea. They probably should have done a diagonal to run away, but they're basically preventing us from surrounding them easily. So now we can press this stone down onto the third line and get a little bit of extra influence. And we can continue to press them down if we are allowed, I guess. Maybe even keep pushing into the corner. But for now, this is good enough. And let's see if we can try to surround them in the center. I like this idea. Whenever I'm trying to be a little bit aggressive, not super aggressive, just a little bit, threatening to surround my opponent is always a nice idea. One thing here is when we're surrounding, we're also building the center. So it's not just about surrounding. Remember, you need some sort of plan. We surround so that we can build more of the center. And if they struggle to run away, maybe we get even more. So we're going to do this 2-space jump here, focusing a little bit more on building our Moyo. Interesting. I'm not sure if they read it out, but if we push and cut, they Atari, we extend, they connect, and we can just capture this stone. That feels pretty good. We push and cut the other way, I think they're just cut off. So I think both of the push and cuts are nice. I'm going to do the one that gives me the cleanest shape on the outside, I think. So I'm going to push this way. This is going to be similar to if they just pushed us from behind here and we did the hane and then they hane'd back, we would be cutting them. So this would be a similar idea. They have to push through here. This is very, very important. All right, there we go. Looks like they were actually are taking their time in this game, which is nice. Yes, we have to push through. We can't let them, I mean, they have to push through. They can't let us just connect so solidly. And even if we lose a couple stones on the left side, we're trying to build as much as we can in the center. So this feels pretty nice. So we'll extend here. They should connect, and then we can just capture this in the center. Now our center is really, really big, and it's starting to look really nice. So here we'll have to read if we need to do anything special, because we could extend back. They can push, we block, they cut. Like there's a lot of aji here. I don't actually care if they connect up. We got what we wanted, which was more strength in the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these 2 stones as a way to make sure my corner is super solid. And they're tarring this way, which is sort of interesting. They actually do have a little bit to worry about when it comes to their connection here. But I think I've already gotten what I wanted. I wanted an extra move to make sure my corner was a little solid. Now I also have this Atari, which is nice if they ever try to do anything to my corner. Remember, we don't want to over-defend anymore. We're trying to just defend enough. So now we have a really large potential center. So it's starting to feel like maybe we just keep taking it, or some other way of trying to build the center is like capping their stone to try to go into their area. So that's what I think I'm going to do here this time. We cap here to threaten the attachment. And then if they just back off, we're getting more influence in the center. They're trying to reduce right away, but I don't care about this. I'm just going to stay connected. And the problem here is that when they don't try to connect up, we're able to fight back. So we're pretty happy about this. So when they push through here, they actually should not do this. Because we can Atari from behind. We can give up this stone. All right. If they really, really want to. They can really try if they want. I'm just going to keep connecting. And we're just going to Atari from the center here. This feels really nice. We're still getting center. And they're actually still not alive. So we can still harass this group a little bit if we want to. But they never answered our move in the bottom left, or this capping move either. So we can do something with that. Maybe attach could be fine. We could maybe even go take the corner as well. So we have plenty of options. Hard to say which one I like the most. So let's go for the easy option of trying to pressure this group some more. Okay, they're coming out. We'll just capture the stone. They're Atarying there, but that doesn't really matter to us. We're going to Atari on the outside. This capture does not give them an eye, so it's not very useful. And now we're going to make sure they don't have a base, right? This sort of peep here, make sure they don't have 2 eyes on this side. So this feels good. And we're going after the base, and then we're going to be surrounding. And all right, so the next idea, they're already kind of surrounded. So we could push to surround, maybe make some points in the center, or we can jump from the other side or something. But I feel like it's going to be hard to really make a lot of points here. So I'm going to just push on top. They can live if they want to. I don't really care.
Now starts.
We're going to jump again here. Let them live. But we get to take a couple points in the center. Looks like they don't want to live. So we're going to peep, threaten to cut through. We'll be happy to capture that stone. Like I said, the problem here is that they're not quite alive. So we're going to peep again, see what they want here. We're going to threaten to push through, see if they're okay with that idea. We're being a little bit aggressive. We're poking at their eyes. It's okay. I think they can still live, but we're just being annoying. So we're going to go back and actually, we may not even need to connect, but we're going to go back and connect. They still have an opportunity to make 2 eyes. They can Atari here and then hane, and then we hane back and they're alive. Nice and simple. We'll see if they decide to do that or not. They didn't really want to, which is interesting. So remember, we're not being the defensive style in this case where we're just surrounding. They're kind of already surrounded. So we're going to poke at where their eye could have been and see what they want to do here. They need to just directly make the eye. I think that's really important. But it seems like they don't really want to. So we can keep poking into their area and making it hard for them to make an eye. There's actually going to be an important lesson for sure. Because now we can just back off in a lot of different ways. But just this jump is good enough. And I don't even know how they make eyes anymore. They had eyes. They had 2 eyes. But now they'd only have 1.
4.
And yes, maybe we
3,
could have been very
2,
aggressive if
1.
they went to go for that eye. But it was still the right idea for sure. They're going to cut through us. We just want to make sure that our group is strong. So we're connecting nice and solidly here. We have more than enough liberties to deal with the white stones that are in the corner. We need to make sure they don't make a giant base. And this group is definitely alive now. We have more than enough space here. We need at least 6 spaces, and we have more than 6. The group on top is going to be very difficult to do anything to that group. So this should be fine. The best option was maybe if they pushed the other direction, but it was still going to be very difficult for them to play this way. I have a couple options. We can block, technically. We can maybe connect. We need to default back to that simple mindset. What's the move that's more important? We don't really care if they connect this one stone to the top side.
9.
If this whole group in the center is dead, that's good.
7.
I'm going to do the bamboo joint. I wanted to call it something else, but the bamboo joint here to make sure my group is as solid as possible on the outside. If they go back to connect under, okay, we'll just kill the 2 stones to make sure that we don't have any problems.
Last Byoyomi.
All right, they're connecting. As I said, we'll just kill off these 2 stones. We were expecting them to actually live in this area earlier, so we got more profit than we expected, so we don't actually have to be very aggressive on the bottom anymore. And it's perfectly okay for us to play a slow move like this. I don't think we actually need this move. They're going to try to cut and try to kill us, I guess. Very bad idea, but they should try to do something. So we're going to Atari out. Our group has at least 1 eye with this, and there's not really much weakness on the outside, so this is going to be okay. So the one thing we want to look for is a lot of that defending idea. If they peep here, there's an awkward peep. I need to connect, then they can cut, and I don't have that many liberties. But my other group already has 1 eye, and if they
9,
turn, we
8,
definitely have another eye.
7,
So I'm just going to
6,
defend
5.
from the center. Make sure that peep is never a thing. We don't ever want to have to worry about it. When they turn here, all we have to do is keep extending, and our group is solid. They're playing a slightly weird move, but we are going to try to connect up as well. Connecting is always good. We can just block here. They don't have that much strength, so we can actually start fighting back again. We're going to Atari because we don't want to let them Atari. And then we're just going to slowly surround these middle stones. Our other group is actually pretty fine now. We have 2 eyes very easily, which we can maybe see depending on what they do. They're doing the peep now. We'll be connecting solidly here, because if we connect the other way, it's just a direct Atari and then they can do stuff. It's very annoying. We can block here, and if they cut, we just Atari and capture the stones, so that seems okay. We can also connect on the other side, and that also seems okay. But I think I like separating them. Taking a liberty away from the group I'm fighting against feels pretty nice. All right, I won on time here. It is basically game over at this point, but I do think it's important to take a look at this game a little bit here. My opponent ended up being very greedy. Yes, we were aggressive, but they were greedy, and there is a difference between those 2 things. Hopefully the game analysis works without any problems. We can sort of highlight the greediness here on this right side when they were trying to live. It's hard to know. I'm going to say it's hard to know when you should just live right away. But I would say that the basic rule is that if you're in your opponent's area and they're really strong everywhere, just live if you have that opportunity. Don't try to keep asking for more. Now this Atari is fine, because if they capture that stone, they're probably alive. So I'll capture. This is probably not fine, but you know what? Not a big deal. We Atari here, and we get to take away some of the eye shape. But what they probably should have done, that one Atari was fine. They do have like an attachment over here to try to make an eye. So right now, just do this diagonal. Make sure that we're almost alive. If I block here, technically I can try to kill still. Or I can go down here. There's an Atari here and Hane. This group is not 100% alive. but it's more alive. But they can always just capture to make sure they're fine. And this would be perfectly acceptable. This was the non-greedy way to play here. But instead, they tried to ask for too much. They're like, okay, I don't want to just live. I want to get rid of all the potential in the center. Because maybe they play this one and I Hane here and I still get to build the center. But they should just go for life. Because they did not, we got to poke at that. Now there's only one eye here. No matter what they do, we'll play away. No matter what they do here, if they play this one, we just Hane. If they play where we played, we can throw in and connect. And this is 3 in a row, which is a dead group. So the group is actually not settled right away. We let them sort of live here, right? Because like you saw the move I just put here. If we play this one, they can't make another eye easily in the center, and they have to just keep pushing. But it's hard to say how much we're getting in this area compared to the center. So I decided to just push from the center. It seemed a little bit easier. So they have another option here where they can attach. They can play this threaten of a double Atari, and they can just extend, and now they have another eye, right? They have another opportunity to just live right away. So when you're in your opponent's area like this, just living is always going to be fine. But they decided, no, I don't need to do that. We're just going to jump. I'm going to let them do that again. They can always go back and take that second eye. Then they jump again. So we peep again. I think they can still do it. They still have an option to maybe try. But we get to push through and then connect. And they still have one last chance. They can maybe Atari here and Hane. We can try to kill now. If we really, really want to go all out. And if we lose this fight, we lose the game sort of thing. We don't want to do that. That's a bad idea. Just Hane, they live. We can peep again. We fix everything. We get points on the outside. Now we can go back and attach. We can go back and invade. We can go back and do something, and this is going to be fine. But they decided not to do it again. They played the same exact shape, this jump again. So now I get to peep. Same problem. If they do this one, just like in the game, they no longer have eyes there anymore. Another difficult situation for my opponent. It looks like they knew sort of like the area where the eyes were, but they just were not taking them. This one could have just been a genuine, like they weren't sure if they could survive, so they tried the jump, and that was what they wanted to do. But the first one should have been a little bit more obvious, in that they can threaten to capture a stone, which is Sente, and they can just make a direct eye. That one was a lot more obvious. That's what they should have probably done. You shouldn't just keep jumping in your opponent's area like this. It's definitely not a good idea. So now they probably are just dead. It probably is just game over. There's not much they can do about it. And so they do decide to fight here, but it's just going to be too difficult to really do anything. So just to highlight really quick, this move, we're already making an eye here if we need it. And we also have this Hane and this one. So there's 2 eyes on this side and very likely at least 1 more eye in the center. Seems very easy to just be alive with this group, even if they get this Ko here. Really, really simple. At least 2 eyes pretty nicely. So we can play away, because if they take away one of them, like this one here, it's still there technically. But if they play there, we can just Hane in the corner and make 2 eyes whenever we need to. So it's really easy to just make sure we're alive. We probably would just respond though. It seems difficult for them to really fight back too hard here. But yeah, just to show you that it was easy to live there pretty well. And then yeah, there's just not much here. They were maybe threatening this one, but this is just sort of like a ladder, and it's just captured right away. So there's not much that they can do here. Maybe they were hoping for something like this one, but even this is pretty good for me. We get to still capture the 2 stones, so it doesn't even really matter which one we play. I think this was actually a pretty good game. You got to see the difference between more aggressive versus greedy. We were more aggressive in that we didn't just defend the upper left corner. We tried to surround in a very big way, and they ended up being able to live and get out, but we gave up stones to try to get something for ourselves. However, the plan is the most important part. Our plan was to get more strength toward the center, to do something like maybe make a giant Moyo, or to maybe start invading the bottom side. Our opponent didn't like that idea, so they started a fight where they were greedy. And very, very important distinction. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys are having a good day, and have fun.